What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex, and you're watching a Ragin Ronin review. Got a review for you. Last weekend, I saw Pacific Rim Uprising, the highly anticipated sequel to 2013 giant monster, giant robot flick, Pacific Rim. That came out in 2013, 5 years ago. It was directed by Guillermo del Toro, and that was truly a nerd's dream come true because it really wasn't based off of anything. It was inspired by a lot of things, but it wasn't based off of any one source material, and all it was just about robots, giant robots called Jaegers, and giant monsters called Kaijus fighting. That's all it was. There's a portal that opened up in the ocean, and then monsters started coming out, and to battle them, they built giant robots, and then that is it. That's all you need to know. And I really liked that movie. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. It was fun, it was loud, it was awesome, it was exciting. And I couldn't wait to see a sequel. The thing is that I wasn't even sure if we were going to get a sequel, mainly because, well, the movie didn't even make, it only made $400 million against a $190 million production budget. And thanks to the Chinese international box office they contributed for $100 million of that. So a quarter of that box office. And it's thanks to them, we now got a green light to a sequel. But Universal Pictures, Legendary Pictures, they decided we're going to tread softly. We're going to take 5 years to really work this out and plan this out and make this movie. And 5 years later, we have this film, but it wasn't without doing it cautiously, all right? And you can tell when you watch this movie, you can tell that they did it cautiously because they throw in a lot of different things so they don't repeat the low box office take of the $400 million that they took for the first film. So what did they do differently? Well, they kept it really fresh and exciting and different. And that is by, first of all, changing up the cast. We got John Boyega and Scott Eastwood. There are a couple of returning supporting cast members. I'm not going to reveal who they are, but I'll tell you that this is a film that they decided to really change up, and that is by broadening the audiences. They did this by having a younger cast. We have someone that just came out of Star Wars, one of the biggest films in the world, like Star Wars Force Awakens. And to top things off, they really pandered to the country that contributed most to their box office, China pandering. Something that is dominant in films like Transformers Age of Extinction, Independence Day Resurgence. They do this because they know that it would really help out the box office by making China look good. Giving China, that country, a really big role in that film. And when you're watching this film, you can't help but notice it because it's really glaring. It's really out there. But let's talk about this film as a film, all right? I'll tell you that I like the cast. I like that they changed it up a bit. I'll say that Charlie Hunnam and Rinko Kikuchi in the first film didn't really have really good chemistry. In fact, I thought they were pretty bad actors, with Charlie Hunnam being the weakest. But I liked that they had John Boyega and Scott Eastwood. I felt the chemistry there. I liked that there was this comedic banter between the two. And it was just fun to see fresh faces, and I like that about it. They changed things up dramatically because the first film had an 1 and 8 minute build-up before we got to any real fighting. There was a real pacing issue. For a film that's about robots and monsters fighting, we have to wait till at least half of the film before we get to it in the first one. You don't have to worry about that. They resolved this issue by giving us lots of action. As soon as the movie opens, it opens with a bang. And then it builds up to these bigger action sequences, and then it gives you a lot of twists and turns and a lot of unexpected surprises that you do not expect to see. But at the end of the day, this movie is a lot more fun. It makes you realize that the first Pacific Rim took itself a little bit too seriously for what it is. It's a robot and monster movie. It should be fun, and it is fun, but Pacific Rim Uprising is way more fun just because it is just a more fast-paced film. And there's a little bit of cheese thrown in here and there, but I still gotta say that this film really took it to the next level. Now, it isn't without flaws. China pandering, that's just something that's out there. But what can you do? Now, one thing that I gotta say with regards to the fights is that the fights are really great. They are pretty awesome, but the fights in Pacific Rim Uprising are a little bit too stylish. What I mean by that is that, I really am not spoiling anything, but once we get to the final climactic battle, it really doesn't feel like fighting. Like in the first Pacific Rim, they were really going at it. Boom, boom, boom. Lots of real, actual fighting, right? It was a rock'em, sock'em, beat 'em up. In the final battle, it just felt like a music video, like a combination of money shots. It just felt like a whole bunch of stylish sequences, and it almost felt like it was nothing but power moves. It wasn't actual fighting. It was just power move after power move after power move. And I was just thinking, like, are they gonna do this throughout the entire final battle? Is it just gonna be like, use my supersonic blade? Okay, done. All right, what's next? Let's use the chain of death. Okay, done. Oh, let's use the drop kick of fury. You know, it just felt like nothing but power moves in the final battle. It wasn't actual fighting where they were like boom, boom, block, kick, combo. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a lot of that. I mean, we do get that, but it just made the final battle, the climactic ending, feel a little bit underwhelming. And the final battle is the third act of the film, and the ending is supposed to leave an impression on you. And while I thought it was a fun and exciting, it just didn't have that oomph factor that the first one gave us. And the fighting in the first one was what made it so awesome. That's what we were waiting for an hour and 8 minutes. This one we get some pretty good sequences, but the final battle just, it felt like they could have done a lot more with that. And I won't say that it's unfortunate. It's just different. It's a really, really different take. And there you have it. I think for a movie about robot fighting and robot monsters fighting each other, they really, really kind of could have done so much more. Well, not so much more, but they could have done better. They could have done better with the final act of the film. It's still fun. It's still exciting. But I gotta say, in comparison, first one is better. The first one is better. You know what's interesting is that when comparing the two, I felt that in Pacific Rim, they really made the kaijus feel like characters. Like, they have like unique looks. They have unique ways of fighting. They have unique characteristics, almost like they have personalities. But the Jaegers, not so much. They were really just fighting, and they just looked different, but they really didn't do anything different. Okay, they just looked different. As for Pacific Rim Uprising, I like that the Jaegers felt like they had personalities, unique personalities, from their fighting styles, the way they looked, and the people that piloted them. They have very, very unique takes on each of the Jaegers to make them feel like they're actual characters. So that was really cool. I like that about that film, and I like that they decided to change things up. As for the kaijus in Pacific Rim Uprising, they really felt like just, it didn't matter if they looked different. They all just did the same thing. And so that was a little bit unfortunate, especially when we were giving such an amazing introduction of all these different kaijus in the first film. This one just felt like, okay, they look different, but really, what do they really do differently besides just run through buildings and just Hulk at you, whatever even that means, just like charge at you and all that. Anyways, still a very fun film. I enjoyed it. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10, slightly less than the 7.5 that I gave the first Pacific Rim, but still a really, really fun film. It's definitely one of those popcorn summer blockbustery types of films that you would enjoy. Anyways, that's all I got to say. If you enjoyed Pacific Rim, you're definitely going to enjoy Pacific Rim Uprising, but I still think that the first Pacific Rim is better, only by slightly. And there you have it. That's all I got to say in this review. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you enjoyed this review, you want to see more, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name is Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.